Hi there, for today's video, we are going to be focusing on text organization with description. Remember, text organization is the way the author organizes the story that they wrote. Sometimes they write it focusing on chronological order, first, next, then last, and sometimes they focus on description, trying to have you focus on your five senses. Remember, hearing, seeing, smelling, taste, and touching. So, let's go ahead and go over these words real quick, and then we'll go over this little poster. So text organization, this one right here. Text organization is the way a text or story is arranged or organized to help you, the reader, understand the information, okay? So whenever an author is writing a story, they have their topic that they want to get across to us, the reader, and they need to pick the best way to do that. Sometimes it's by just telling us events in order, chronological order, or sometimes it's by description. They're like, okay, I really want the reader to think about their five senses, ways something smells, tastes, touched, okay? So they organize it however they think is going to best help you, the reader, understand the topic, okay? Then we have the word description. Description. Go ahead and say that. Perfect. Description is a way to tell details about what something is like. So, for example, in here, this is my coffee mug. I have coffee in here, right? So, how can I explain that? Well, my coffee is hot. It tastes a little sweet. To me, it smells good, okay? So that's description. I have something, right? And I just told you details about it. Okay, it's hot. It feels hot. It tastes warm. It tastes sweet. It smells good. Okay, I just described something to you. That's description. Now, detail. Go ahead and say detail. Great job, detail. A small bit of information that supports the central idea. So again, what's my central idea right here? Just give you an example. Coffee. That's what we have right here, coffee. Now, little things about my coffee. Feels warm, it tastes a little bit sweet, it smells good, okay? So I just gave you a little bit of details about that. Now, in today's story, do you really want to visit a wetland? This book is full of opportunities for you, the reader, to think of your five senses. There's going to be alligators, so you can look at the picture really well and start thinking, oh my gosh, that's what an alligator looks like. Or, oh, that's a sound alligator makes. Or, I wonder what that feels like, or I wonder what that sounds like. There's all these different opportunities for you to use your five senses to think about the words that you're hearing whenever I read the story. So right here, I'm going to read this to you, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Informational text. What is an informational text? It's a story that gives you information about a real thing. You usually have a topic. Yesterday's story, Can We Ring the Liberty Bell? The topic was the Liberty Bell. You learned real information about the Liberty Bell. Do you really want to visit a wetland? The topic's probably going to be about wetland, right? Okay, so informational text is whenever you're learning real information from a book. So, in these books, the author's purpose is to what? Persuade, inform, or entertain you. To inform you, right? The author wants you to get real information. The author wants to teach you something about a topic. Now, description. Description is, like I said, a way to tell details about what something is like. So authors choose description to help you better understand something. So here is an example. This is a little bird. It's a little green bird, right? So, right here. It feels like, well, I think the bird probably feels soft. The feathers probably feel soft. It looks like it's small and it's green. It smells like outside. I'm not sure. It sounds like, probably chirps. It acts like. This bird looks a little shy. Okay? So you, when you're reading a story, use the words that you hear, use a picture to help you describe whatever you may be looking at or reading. So right here, there's a picture, and we'll read it later. Where it's raining. We'll use what you know about rain. How does the rain usually feel? It's wet, and sometimes the rain can be a little bit cold. So right there, wet, that's how it feels. cold. It's how it feels, okay? So that's text organization. One more time. The author sometimes chooses different ways to write a story. Sometimes they do it where they want you to focus on the beginning, middle, end, or first, next, then last. And sometimes they just really want you to focus on your senses and the different things you're reading, and they want you to focus on describing them, okay? So that's text organization, focusing on description, okay? Now, quickly, I'd like to go over narrative nonfiction because the last couple of days we have been focusing on narrative nonfiction. What is narrative nonfiction? I'll give you a moment to think about it. Narrative nonfiction is a type of writing that gives you facts about a topic, but it sounds like a story, right? So the story, Can We Ring the Liberty Bell? You were learning real information, real facts about the Liberty Bell. But the author wrote this story in a way to really entertain you. So you're learning real information, but it was done in a story-like way, okay? So same thing with the story, I'm Amelia Earhart. It's a narrative nonfiction. You were learning real information about Amelia Earhart, but it was done in a storytelling way. Same thing with Oscar and the Moth, narrative nonfiction. So I'm going to go over this little poster right here. Narrative nonfiction gives facts about a topic. Topic can be about things or a person. It sounds like a story, but it's nonfiction, meaning you're going to learn some real information. Narrative nonfiction text can have real settings, real people or animals, photos, realistic artwork, meaning it's a drawing, but it looks realistic. It looks real. Events that happen in time order. So Amelia Earhart, the beginning of her life, middle of her life, to the end. This one from yesterday, Can We Ring the Liberty Bell? It's the beginning of a field trip. So the class is all talking about the field trip in the class. They go on the field trip and they come back to school. So that's in order. Dialogue. Dialogue is conversation. These books that we've been reading all have dialogue, conversations. Words that describe. That has to do with text organization, what we just focused. So as you're listening to the story being read, focus on the description, things that you can describe. So from Oscar and the Moth, remember this page where the moth is looking at the light? Well, you could think, okay, well, that light looks bright. Probably feels warm or hot. All right. And then text features. So drawings are a text feature. So is table of contents. So is photographs. Photographs are real pictures taken with the camera. So is glossary. Glossary tells you the meaning of important words. So is index. If I wanted to find more information about something, I'd go to the index, which is in the back of the book. Okay, so that is narrative nonfiction. These books that we've been reading the last couple of days are narrative nonfiction. But one more thing, remember, these narrative nonfiction books we're reading, you're learning real information about a topic. A topic can be about a person or thing. Amelia Earhart, what was the topic? A person, Amelia Earhart. Oscar and the Moth, a book about light and dark. What was the topic? Light and dark. Can We Ring the Liberty Bell? What was the topic? The Liberty Bell. So when we read today's story, do you really want to visit a wetland? I really want you to think of everything you've learned so far with narrative nonfiction, text organization, author's purpose, and use all of that for today's story. I want you to think, okay, this story is narrative nonfiction. I'm going to really be learning some real information from this book. It's in a fun way. The author wrote the story in a story-like way, so it's entertaining, but I know the author's real purpose was to teach me information about the wetland. So the author's purpose is to inform. And I know that this story, there's going to be plenty of chances for me to take a moment and think of what's going on and what I'm listening and reading, and think of, how can I describe that? What does that snail look like? What does that alligator sound like? I wonder what the water feels like, okay? So I hope you enjoy today's little lesson over text organization and narrative nonfiction.